Alright, so this is the second part of the Q&A where we celebrate reaching 5,000 subscribers, and I'll be answering some more questions. If you're curious about the first part, be sure to check it out up here or down here. Where do your ideas come from? Do ideas come more frequently with experience? So someone actually asked me how long did it take me to have a long list of 100 ideas, and I hope that it is very obvious that I didn't come up with all 100 ideas or more all at once, but it was a gradual process of collecting them over time. And these ideas come from all sorts of places, from me traveling, going outside, building off of my old project, or getting suggestions from you guys. And yes, the more I practice, the easier it is for me to come up with new ideas. Experience really helps me to put new ideas together in a fresh and creative way. Have you ever felt like quitting when things don't work out? Since the start of my YouTube journey, there were definitely some moments of doubts, but I have never felt like quitting. And I think it's because of a few key strategies. The first one being that I set pretty realistic expectations. I knew from the very start that the first few months, actually the first 3 to 6 months would be the hardest, and it was when the growth was kind of slow and no one was really watching my content. But instead of dwelling on the fact that people are not watching, I tried to focus on things that I could control, which was to consistently post 3 videos a week after week. And I have to say that it was not easy, and it required some patience and also trust in the process. But little by little, I saw a small glimpse of hope when I would get some encouraging comments from you guys, or I start to connect with people I admire, and that really kept me going. The second strategy that I did was to celebrate small wins, and I still do it now. If you're a long-time subscriber of my newsletter, you would know that I love to highlight my key milestones, whether it be reaching 1,000 subscribers or reaching 100 coding videos, or reaching now 6,000, almost 7,000 subscribers. And that is because these moments, no matter how small, helps me build confidence and also serve as a proof of progress when I step back and reflect. And then the last strategy that I do is to be clear on the definition of success. So this question says, have you ever felt like quitting when things don't work out? And I want to highlight the phrase not working out. For me, every step in the journey is a data point, even setbacks. Quantitative success, like subscribers count, really signal growth, and that is important because after all, this is a business, but I try not to take it to the extreme, especially at the beginning or the current state of my journey. Growth isn't always fast, but as long as it's moving in the right direction, that is a win for me. Similarly, qualitative success is also as important. When people email me saying that my channel is their favorite corner of the internet, or when I receive validation from the people I respect, these are also key milestones. There are key signals that show me that the work that I'm currently doing will pay off in the future. Since I have a clear mission as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is to create a space where I can encourage and inspire you to explore your curiosity and also to unleash your creative potential, quitting also means that I abandon that long-term goal. So ultimately, it comes down to having a clear mission and making sure that my daily actions do align with that bigger goal. All right, next question. Have you experienced a burnout? I don't think that I have experienced a burnout, but definitely during the first year when I was posting 3 videos a week, I definitely experienced both physical and mental fatigue due to the constant need to be both consistent and creative. But I also think that being burnt out is more complex because it's not only that you're tired from doing the work and being stressed or being overwhelmed, but it also involves being or the feeling of being unfulfilled and also being detached from a goal or a bigger goal, and I definitely have not felt that. That being said, the exhaustion that I felt during the first year was real, and even though it was doable to be posting that frequently, but it was definitely difficult, and I made a conscious decision to do that because I think that I needed that intense focus to really kickstart my channel, to build the portfolio, and to build momentum. But after the first year, I knew that it was not sustainable and I need to cut back a little bit. Through that experience, I realized that I need to be able to gauge when to push hard and when to slow down. And since then, I really think that the slower pace helps me maintain the long-term creativity and also opens up a lot of mental space and energy for me to try out new things. What are your thoughts on motivation versus discipline? So I love this question because it is a topic that I've thought quite deeply about. And to me, motivation is what inspires us to start a new project or a new goal, while discipline is what keeps us to stay consistent and continue through challenges. It is a habit that keeps us going when we might not want to. And I strongly believe that self-discipline and consistency are the keys to turning your ideas into reality. So one of my favorite books, which I didn't mention in the first Q&A, actually is called What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. It is a memoir by Haruki Murakami, who is a well-known Japanese author. And in this book, he touches on the importance of focus and endurance. And he says that while talent is important, focus, which is the ability to concentrate on something, and endurance, which is the ability to focus for a long period of time, are also as important. And these are the skills that can be trained. This concept ties in with one of my favorite quotes by Ira Glass, who is the host and producer of the radio show This American Life. And in this quote, he explains that when you're starting out in a creative field, your taste is often more developed than your skill, which can lead to frustration. But through persistence and also practice, you can bridge that gap between your current ability and the high standards that your taste demands. So to wrap this up, unless you're super talented, which I also do believe that there's a limit to it, deliberate work done consistently through self-discipline is the key to achieving long-term success. All right, next question. How do you stay consistent? Any tips on time management and productivity? Staying consistent in my work requires a good bit of planning, especially because it involves being productive as well as being creative. So finding that balance is very crucial. Having a plan gives me the high-level structure, which allows me to be a bit more flexible in the details. So I don't actually plan out my videos too far in advance, even though I have a bank of ideas that I can draw from. Each week I list out all of the deliverables that I need to do, and then I also break them down into key steps that I need to do to get there. So for example, if I need to finish a video, I would need to first come up with an idea. Also, I need to try out the code, I need to film, and also I need to edit. And for more difficult videos, I might need to do additional preparation, such as scripting or practicing the code. So once I have all of these key tasks laid out, I then map them out on my calendar. And this allows me to ensure that I balance out high energy tasks with lower and less intense ones. It's not a perfect system, but having a plan allows me to adjust my task based on my energy level, but at the same time, making sure that I achieve all the tasks that I need to do on a weekly basis. But interestingly, when the deadline is approaching, my energy level spikes up quite high. Next, what are your anxiety and insecurities in your coding journey, and how did you overcome them? I touched upon this question a little bit in the first Q&A, but back in college when I took my very first coding class, the introduction to programming, I thought that I just was not built to program. I just couldn't do it at all. And interestingly, my roommate, who is a communication design major, she was excelling in this class and she was enjoying it so much. So that actually made me feel a little bit more insecure, because me as an engineering major, I just wasn't able to do it. And I think that this story might resonate with some of you who are just starting to learn how to code. And I'm here to tell you that it might not be because you're not good at it, but it is because you're not used to the way of thinking. Imposter syndrome hits the hardest at the beginning when you're trying something new, coding included. And when I told myself that it's okay to be bad at something as a way to getting better at that very thing, then I shifted my focus from dwelling on the fact that I was not able to do it to figuring out how to improve, how to get better. Then things got better. And over time, I built confidence, I figured things out, and then I got more used to this way of thinking, and then learning to code and coding as a whole becomes more natural. I also want to add that sometimes when you're tackling a problem, you feel like you cannot do it and it's just too much over your head. It might just be that you and your brain just need a break. Oftentimes when that happens to me, I just take a break and I come back to it again at a later time, and it usually is much easier to solve the issue. Alright, last question before we go into a few fun questions at the end. What advice would you give someone who feels that they aren't good at coding? So I'd be lying if I say that coding is easy. It is not impossible for sure, but it requires a new way of thinking, and that can be difficult. So my advice would be to be patient with yourself, to celebrate small wins, to know that it's okay to struggle. It is just part of a learning process. And last but not least, to know why you're learning to code in the first place. And I'm here to cheer you on. You can do it. All right, the last few questions before we end this Q&A. What is your favorite music for coding? So I have this playlist, which I will link here and down here, which I listen to all the time in the past, maybe a few months. I usually go with music that is a little bit chill, but still have some beats, so it's not super low energy. Let me know if you like the playlist, and also let me know what you listen to when you code. 3 emojis that describe your creative process. All right, 1, 2, 3. And the last one, what's your go-to snack or drink when you're in full creative mode? I don't actually snack that much while I code because I realize that I can't do 2 things at once. But when I take a break, these are some of the snacks that I love to eat. Alright, so here is the end of the Q&A to celebrate reaching 5,000 subscribers. So I hope that you enjoyed this second part of the Q&A, and be sure to check out the first part. And let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll collect them and try to do more of these if you like them. Alright, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!